And we should be live. So, howdy everybody. As you can see, we got some new people on the panel tonight. We'll get to them in a second. But for now, I do have a question for them. You all know how and we should be live. Chocolate mousse tastes airy. So, right, it tastes really fluffy. Howdy everybody. As you can see, we got some new people on the. I'm looking for a flavor like that that's not chocolate. Something that would go in a type of a lemon pie, but it's got to be real fluffy, like Cool Whippy, but I don't want it to mute everything out. So while they think about it, play that hypnotizing intro there, Steve.
Here we go. We're live. Welcome, everybody.
All right. Who we got in chat out there, Steve?
Right on. We got Simon, Ronnie, James Chapman. Welcome. Michael Morris. Let's see here. That seems Red Beast has just popped in here. So that seems to be about it for right now.
All righty. Well, as everybody knows, we're talking about single flavor
went robot
for
again.
Testing. We'll do our best not to make it boring.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's frozen up there.
Yeah.
He said we're talking about single flavor test tonight, and we'll do our best to not make it boring.
Very good, Emily. You know how to take over this.
She's a pro.
We should just pass it over to Emily to continue this show. She's used to running shows here.
Just be boring. It's so much fun. No sarcasm at all.
Am I back?
Yeah, mate.
You're back.
Okay. So I asked you all that question because I'm working on a pie. It's a lemon type of pie. You take fresh squeezed lemon juice with the little bits of lemon in it and mix it with Cool Whip and then just dump it into a graham cracker crust and let it set up in the refrigerator. But it's got to be fluffy. So what would you all use for that? Any ideas?
A meringue for the fluffy part and mouthfeel.
My initial thought was Wonder Flavors Flapper Pie, but you'll get some of the custard with that. So you'll get the airiness from the meringue. But other than that, I go for one of the marshmallows. Flavor of vanilla marshmallow might be pretty good.
Yeah, I was thinking Vape Train lemon meringue tart with like Flavor marshmallow would be good because
Got that lemon meringue tart too.
it's
Well,
so good.
I get it on Tuesday.
Nice.
I don't mind it. I tried someone's lemon meringue pie that has a mixture of that and flat papaya in it, and it was bloody awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so single flavor testing. We were kind of talking, you know, I get the question all the time, do I really have to single flavor test? And the answer is yes and no, okay? I'm not going to tell you that you need to test every flavor that you have. But there is a benefit in doing so. It makes it really easy to know, to get a good idea of what flavors will work in what you're trying to create if you know your flavors. So, Emily, what would you tell people if they were asking you, do I have to do this?
I would say that there's a time and a place for everything. And you don't have to go and start single flavor testing every flavor that you own. But if you're working on a recipe, if you're trying to nail a certain profile and something is just not right, and like it's not the way you want it, and you want, like, let's say it's a strawberry and cream, and you want, like, you want some kind of malty note in there in your strawberry and cream because it brings out the strawberries, but you're not sure what to do, then that's when I would grab every graham cracker I have, every hazelnut I have, and single flavor test everything I can think of that I have that has a malty note to get an idea of what would work best in that mix. Or if you're doing like a lemon meringue pie and like your first couple versions just aren't right, I would take every lemon I have and single flavor test them so that you know exactly what your flavors are doing. Because that's when you really want to drill down and just be, nitpick a mix and get the perfect mix that you can.
Absolutely.
But it's not something that you need to do for every mix you make. It's not something that you need to do for every flavor that you buy. There's guys like Liam, and there's lots of flavor notes out there that, for the most part, if you're just wanting a general idea, you can listen to what they say about the flavors, and go, and most of the time that's good enough. It's just how much do you want to drill down and perfect something.
Absolutely. So, Emily, you're on a little show called Noted. And I say little very, very sarcastically. But that is all you all do for this show is you single flavor test recipe concentrates and tell everybody what you thought of them. That show in itself is a very useful tool that people can use.
That I love whenever I see, like, on Facebook groups or something, a newbie will come up and like, well, what about this flavor? And somebody will reference one of the Noted shows. I love seeing stuff like that because that's the whole primary, is that we want to do it to help you guys, to save you guys time and god awful flavors, and and we try to have as many flavors as possible where all three of us have tried that flavor, so that you can get more than one perspective. You can get different people, get a more roundabout idea of what the flavor's like.
Right. Absolutely. As you mentioned, we got Liam over here. Liam, you have a bunch of, Emily, but before I go to Liam, are your all's notes anything? I just got to watch those.
No. Not at all. Dave maybe, but not me. I just try to kind of drill down the different nuances that I taste, and like the the layers or like the specifics of what makes one flavor different than another one I'm single flavor testing that week, and then I move on. Like Liam is a whole nother level of single flavor testing.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Liam, we touched on this a bit last week, I think. You put these flavors through very extensive testing, huh?
Yeah, it takes me a month to test one flavor, which is why I tend to try and do like 40 or 50 at a time. So I've got 10 different flavors I test every day for the course of a month.
Yeah, and I would love to do that, but like we do anywhere from 10 to 50 flavors a week.
Right? In the file section.
Robot it again. Say that again.
Yeah, he's got extensive notes in the file sections on
Mixers
chefs
helping mixers. Okay.
and mixers helping mixers. And yeah, they are pretty expensive. Zippy knows all about that. She printed them out.
And tomorrow I am going to be updating some more as well. I got the 5 new flavor art ones to drop in, and I think it's 40 new wonder flavors as well. I'm going to update in the group tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Right. One of you all are in charge. I'm going to plan B. I'll be right back.
Yeah, not a problem.
We wanted to welcome Nick Evans. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Cheers. Thanks. Good.
Coming
How you
out
doing?
with some more yummy desserts with your donut.
Yes, I've seen that this morning. I'm going to have a look at mixing that up. I've just got to sub out a couple of the cupcake ones to see how it goes until my next order.
I don't have the salted caramel, but what I do have is Flavor West and VTA salted caramel. So I was
Same
thinking
here.
about using one of those.
I'm gonna make up 2 with 1 in each.
That fantasy is in a league of its own. It's uncomparable to any of the other salted caramels.
And
Liam, have you tried it?
Where is it?
Fantasy. It's only sold at chefs.
Oh, really?
I'm only just testing that now, Nick.
Who makes it?
Fantasy. I think it's rebranded, but I don't know who the original.
Fantasy, and the name of the flavor is salted caramel.
Yeah.
All right, it's going on
It's
my
got
list. I'm a sucker for caramel.
Yeah, it's got like 4 times the salt content of Flavor West.
Really?
Yeah, it's salty.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
We'll have to go on the next order.
It is a coil gunker though. It will destroy coils.
I bet.
I don't know if you can be able to see that. I picked that out. That's from like an hour.
Oh wow. Okay, maybe it won't be worth it.
It is worth it. It is. All depends what you're into, really, but yeah, it's worth it if you like a good dessert.
I'll have to save it for one of those flavors. You have those flavors that you wait until like the end of a coil's life cycle to vape because it's really good, but it just destroys your coils.
Kill it off.
You have to be one of those.
I've got
but
one
you
of
can
those.
use it.
If the quickest coil killer you can get is Flavor West Rainbow Line Gum, just mix that up and put that in, and that'll just absolutely destroy it in less than a week.
Or Flavor West Cookie Butter. That'll destroy it in 2 puffs. It's delicious for like 2 puffs. And then it's burnt charcoal ash.
Wow. Yeah, they have a lot. Flavor West seems to be good for that, huh?
Yeah.
Yellow cake.
Yeah, they definitely still have some flavors that use the sugar.
Yeah. Definitely.
Graham, no, it's not the same. Mullenberry's range is completely different.
Right on. So
So we may as well move on to Nick now about single flavour testing. We've asked Em and Liam, so let's see Nick's view on single flavour testing.
there you go.
I single flavor test the more peculiar ones, like if like flapper pie or something. But if it's like a strawberry or a blueberry, I'll chuck it with some cream or some custard and see how it works. If it's an unusual flavor where you can't pick out the majority of the notes by smelling it, and yeah, I will single flavor test it. But other than that, I don't really put them in a recipe. Not a few different new ones at the same time. I normally work with what I know already and then mix one new concentrate in at a time.
Yeah, that's exactly how I started out with it as well, Nick.
Yeah,
It was just testing in recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically for me,
You know, like
I pretty much do the same. Like if I'm really interested in a recipe and I'm throwing things into it that I haven't used before, I'll single flavor test them for that purpose. But yeah, I kind of don't really go out of the way to like each and every single new flavor that I get in. I don't single flavor test them unless I haven't used it in a recipe and I want to know a little bit more about it, And of course, the notes are really good. As far as, reading, especially Liam, your notes are just absolutely awesome. But ELR has a lot of notes too, so it's really helpful to get a generalized kind of idea and then see what you're tasting based off that concentrate. So that's what I like.
Yeah. You can easily gauge from someone like Liam's notes. You can easily gauge what's going to happen to your mix by using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I use Liam's notes now and again.
Apparently, I'm muted. I'm muted.
Yes. You're unmuted. We can hear you. You're fine.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Hey, Mike, if it doesn't work with video, you just might need to shut your video off and just use audio only and talk. If it keeps causing problems for you, that might help with the bandwidth.
I'm on the phone now, so it should be okay.
All right.
Liam, I don't like the smell of the dark chocolate.
So while you've been gone, we spoke with Nick and what he thought about single flavor testing, and I've covered a bit of that in what I do as well. So that's where we're currently at and what's going on. What about you, Stalker? Did you talk about yours?
I haven't really done a lot of single flavour testing myself. I've tried when I got a heap of Mullenberry in. I have problems with re-wicking because of my hands. I mainly followed that show Noted and went off it. I've just found Liam's notes, so I'll be reading through those. And I also have done a little bit like Nick said, where you change the flavour. I find a recipe, like I found one that had a couple of strawberries in it, and it was nice. And I thought, well, I'll take I think it was a sweet strawberry out, and I put a shisha strawberry in, and just swapping one flavour out just to try to see what the differences are. I haven't tried. I was thinking of using a custard base with some of the fruits, but not everything will go with a custard.
Mm.
So once I get past that, yeah, I have no idea.
That's a really good way to do things. The thing is, I found that if you need to have a recipe, or two, like that's simple, that like the back of your hand. Like you mix this recipe several times, what it tastes like, and then it's really easy and a lot more fun to just plug in a new flavor and see how it reacts, because a lot of times you'll have a flavor that tastes like something on its own, but in a mix it can be completely different and you cannot give it a fair shake. Like I'll have a mix that I single flavor test. I'm like, this is disgusting. This is a really gross. How can anyone use this? but you try a mix with it, and it really like supplements or complements the other flavors in that mix. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, this definitely has a really good use, you know. So, and that's a good way of testing your flavors too, is if you have a recipe, like a custard based recipe, or something that's it's simple, you know it really well, and it's fairly unintrusive, like it's fairly kind of mellow or neutral. That's a good way to do it.
Well, that confused me for a long time. I'm only a new mixer, and when you look on ELO at the suggested testing rate, you single flavour test it up here, but in a mix, the percentage is down here. I could never understand. Well, if you're only using, say, half the amount, how is it going to taste the same as it is up here? And that always confused me, because you should, you taste it as you taste it. And like you watch on Noted, where they try it at, I'm just going to use numbers for example. You test it at 2, 4, 6, and 8. At 2%, you don't really taste it. 4%, yeah. 8%'s over the top, so 6% for a single flavour. But then in a recipe, you'll use it at, say, 3%.
Right.
That always confused me as, well, what's the point of tasting it at the 6% where it tastes good, and yet in a recipe you're only using it at 3%?
Because a lot of times in a recipe, you'll have other flavors that share compounds with that flavor. And so you don't want to completely like drown out your senses with that same compound. And so you'll want to back it off a little bit, because it may not be, and it also may not be a main note either. It may just be an accent to something. But yet when you're single flavor testing, it's the only flavor you have. So you want to make sure that it's strong enough to really see what it's like, you know, and you don't have any other compounds to worry about it clashing or muting or, messing around with in other mixes.
That's the best explanation I've heard, actually, and that makes sense to me now.
And it depends if you want a blueberry custard or a custard with blueberry. If you put too much blueberry in, you're going to have blueberry with custard. But if you put the blueberry lower, you're going to have a custard with blueberry.
Yeah.
Yep. Rightio. Yeah. Now that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Just like I don't know if you guys saw Developed last week, but we did a toffee custard, and we had a conversation of, well, do we want it to be a toffee custard, or do we want it to be a custard with toffee on it? And so it can be a big difference. And a lot of times, if you use a toffee at a lower percentage, it'll just be an accent, and it'll just be, but if you crank it up, it's going to envelop the whole mix, and you won't get like the vanillas or the butter pecan or, like the other flavors that you're wanting to get.
I taste that in a couple of days.
Yeah.
I got it mixed up there.
Oh, good. It's so good.
Something you can do when you're doing your single flavor tests, Stalker, and this is for anybody that has trouble re-wicking. If you're testing a couple of different flavors, what you can do is mix up yourself a little bit of unflavored base. So if you normally vape 70-30, you mix up a 70-30, so just PG, VG, and your nicotine if you use it, and drip that in between your tests. So you keep dripping it and vaping until you can no longer taste any of the other flavor, and then you put your new flavor on, then the single flavor test. It works with a lot of them, but there are some flavors that will stick around. So after doing that 6 or 7 times and you're still getting the other flavor, then you will need to re-wick.
Yeah, I did try that a couple of times, but I was using the wrong flavors, some really strong ones with lemon and that in it, and that I found hangs around really well, and so would that with cinnamon.
Yeah, and coffees and things like that as well tend to hang around.
So, Zippy, how do you do your single flavour testing?
I'm kind of a bit of everybody in the group. Okay, so I have a few mixers that I mix the same. They like their flavors, like our flavors seem to be on the same parallel. So if they have notes, I will cheat a little bit. We'll call it cheating. And I will read their notes, and it's pretty well spot on. It kind of saves me from doing that. And then Emily said, if you're working on a complex recipe and you want certain notes, then I will get out all the flavors, and I will test them. If I really want to hit like an oh my God recipe, then I will do this routine. And for the most part, it kind of depends on what I'm doing, but a lot of times I will just read certain people's notes because we mix the same. If the recipe goes awry and something is not right, then I will go back and I will pick each flavor out. I will test each flavor in that I put in that recipe to see where it went funky. And that's kind of how I do it. Kind of cheating a little bit.
Well, I don't think it's cheating. You're using resources that are out there for a reason. I mean, back when Emily and I started, we started mixing about the same time. All these resources weren't out there. I mean, if you wanted to know how a flavor tasted, you had to taste it.
When I first started, there was nothing out there. Like Liam's notes weren't out there. And that was like 9 years ago. There was bugger all out there. Then, yes, I was testing everything. But as things are getting better and better and the information's out there and I'm getting busier and busier, I rely on the resources. But yes, back when I started mixing, oh yeah, there was nothing out there. There was Reddit, and a lot of the information wasn't accurate. So I was testing back then, yes.
Emily Fidalgo wanted to know, when did you start mixing?
It was July 2016.
I remember when you came on the scene, Emily.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was your average newbie asking all the annoying questions on Facebook groups and stuff.
Oh, here she comes again.
I started back in 2013 of October, and I had some commercial stuff, and the first thing I thought to myself was, this is easy, I can do this. But then there was nothing around to support me, so I mixed for about a year and gave up, and then I came back in 2018 and decided to start looking around. And then it was like the community just completely exploded from 2013 to 2018, everything just exploded. And I don't know why I didn't look sooner, but I guess I was just happy with the juices that I had at the time. So it was kind of like I didn't feel a need really to DIY at that time because I was happy with what I was getting. But it was up until I decided to get out of my regular rotation of things that I knew and I trusted. And that's when it kind of broke my back. And I'm like, no, I'm going back to DIY. Screw this.
Go ahead, Stalker.
I've been mixing for about 7 months, a little bit longer, but that wasn't very productive, to be honest. I still didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, my nearest vape shop was about 2 hours away down the highway. We've just had a vape shop open up here, just up in Port Macquarie, which is only like 45 to an hour away. And that's a bit of a problem. And it's so expensive. Like when you got to travel so far to get it, like you're looking at 50 odd bucks worth of petrol on the round trip. Then you got to buy, 60 mils for 30 bucks. It does add up. Mind you, I've bought like 800 odd flavors, but yeah, I can stop buying for a while. I've been told I'm not allowed to buy anything for a couple of months, which I've got to try to do. I've gone from one addiction to another, and yeah, I'm going to have to find something to get me off the buying flavors. I found something to get off the cigarettes. Next, I'm going to have to find something to get me off the DIY once I get rid of the nicotine.
Well, but that's, I mean, it's a hobby. It's a way to pass the time. It's a way to get your mind off of stuff. You know, I go as you do, Stalker. We've talked about it before. We go kind of in and out of depressed to more depressed to I'm okay today, and mixing, doing these YouTube shows. That's all stuff that helps me. It gets my mind off of life's little issues and
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure does.
lets me move on. Now, I would give you all, right, I'm lucky enough that my local vape shop, they sell VG, nicotine. They sell probably 50 or 60 different concentrates. So, I mean, that's how I got started mixing. But my class that I got wasn't very great. They gave me a 30 ml bottle. They drew a line on it with a sharper, said put about that much flavoring in it, fill the rest up with everything else. That didn't work so well. And then I think it was Wayne was the first one that I heard preaching single flavor testing. You got to test your flavors, got to test your flavors. So once I started doing that, things got a lot easier. And for the new mixers in chat, I don't want there to be any misnomers about it. There's a learning curve to this hobby. You're not going to get it right every time. I still don't. I'm sure Emily don't.
Nope.
It's a trial and error, but
Lots of Drano.
Yeah, with testing, like what Emily has described, and that there are ways to make that time shorter to you finding what you're looking for. It's just breaking down and doing some single flavor test. The other thing that I do, I save all of my single flavor testers. And then, like right now, this is the only bottle of liquid that I have mixed up, and it's about halfway gone. When I run out, I go back to my single flavors, and I'll put, if I think something sounds good together, I'll fill up my tank while I'm driving with those flavors and vape them together. And sometimes it gives me ideals, and sometimes it tells me never do that again.
Well, you better rephrase that, Mike. Not while you're driving, while you're parked on the side of the road.
Okay.
I can't imagine just having one juice to vape.
Oh God,
Yeah.
me either. Me either. If you saw my steep cupboard, holy crap! It's like I went crazy or something. Damn.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've never been a single all day flavor kind of vapor. I get bored real easy. It's another
Me
reason
too.
why.
Mhm.
That's another reason why I started mixing. Who can buy 5 or 6 bottles, 30 mils for $25? You know. Plus, I'm on the road.
I got 4 mods at once going, which 4 different flavors.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually do that too. But yeah, I've been in this thing, and for anybody else, especially new people, if you can keep yourself from mixing because you have to mix and mixing because you want to mix, there's a world of difference in how much that you'll like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started doing single flavor tests back in 2013. I can only remember I had access to one-on-one flavors, Flavor Art, Capella, Flavor West, and TFA at the time. Those are the only flavor houses I remember at the time, and a lot of the mixes I were doing were single flavors, but it was pretty cool back then because they're not like Flavora where if you grab rich cinnamon and do what I used to do back in the day, you'd blow your head off. What I used to do is take a coffee cup and get a syringe and put 5 mils of water into it, and I'd take a concentrate and put 1 drop into it. Well, back then with the equipment and everything we had back then, 1 drop would equal 5%. If you put 2 drops in it, that would be 10%. If you put a third drop into it, then that would be 15%. So it worked on up the chart like that. And that's how I would do the single flavor testing back in the day. It's irrelevant now because all the devices and everything that we use now have completely changed. It's not the same. I mean, back then, I think I had something called like an 808 dripper or something like that. But it was specifically designed for dripping and dripping only. You drip on it and you test your flavors and everything. And I guess that's old school. That's really old school. But that's how I did it. Well, I put a drop to 5 mils of water in the concentrate, swish it around, put it in my mouth, swirl it around in my mouth and spit it out and see what I was tasting. And that's how I got a general indication when I first started. Is the flavor too strong or is it not strong enough? Then that's how
Or it smells like cat pee.
Yeah, that's how I would test in the beginning. And it was very helpful for me when I started mixing and everything. Someone not long ago asked about, the first recipe that you ever created. And mine was a buttery nipple. It was butterscotch, caramel, and Irish cream. Really simple, 3-flavor recipe. And it was great. It was really awesome, But that was basically how I started out and mixing things together and everything. And that's how I determined what percentage I kind of enjoyed each flavor at. But everything got blown away now with everything that we've got nowadays and everything. Everything's completely blown away. So that no longer applies anymore.
Yeah, the rabbit hole's got really, really deep and complex with all the new flavors.
Sure has.
Especially when you got certain people like Tam and Nick there putting out these really good recipes that have got all these different flavor houses in. It can be confusing for the new mixer.
Okay, but tell me why that the weird fruit has to smell like cat pee.
I refer to that as ammonia-like notes.
It's got an astringency to it.
It smells like cat pee.
And that's the other thing. What we've realised with a couple of them, you can't judge all flavors by the smell out of the bottle.
I'm giving it a chance, but I that's all I can smell now is cat pee.
Yum.
That sounds
Everybody wants
very
to vape
enticing.
cat piss.
Hell yeah, that's on my agenda.
Yeah, let's go.
That's on the to-do. That's on my bucket list.
There you go. It's on my vaping bucket list.
Steve-O, are you friends with Mark Sr.?
As far as I know, I hadn't really gotten to talk to him in person much.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Can one of y'all send him a link?
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Give us 2 seconds and I'll get him one.
Okay, see, now I'm testing guava right now because I have no clue, and there's so many different notes on that flavor that I'm going to test it. I may get some idea. It might taste better than it smells. I'm about to find out. But I don't generally do fruits.
Okay, I sent a message to Mark there, so.
All right, yeah, my computer's slow.
Yeah, all good. All sent.
How are you, Mark?
Oh, how's it
Mark.
going? Steve, it's funny. Steve just added me for Facebook.
I think Yeah, no, I mean, I got invited to the Canada DIY Facebook group and everything. So
Yeah.
They let you in?
yeah, man.
Those Canadians, they're very
Mark, you
hospitable.
gotta
More.
stop letting everybody in. Jeez.
They
Oh,
better let us
They
in.
just let anybody in these days, don't they?
I'm like, add.
And then afterwards it's oops.
Nope.
That was
Moderator, admin.
I immediately
Yeah.
regret this decision.
Oh God. So I have the list of all the new the Broke Vapor flavors. I already talked to Emily. We've already talked about that. But 39 new flavors, brand new. Some of them are, oh yeah. Some of them are like, oh my God, what was you thinking? He's got Irish cream. I took the lid off and threw it in the garbage. It stunk up the whole house.
But
No
you
more
know,
freebies for
you
you.
got that with any flavor company. You're gonna have some gems, and you're gonna have some absolute horrors.
Oh, for sure. He's got
And
mocha.
Emily,
He's got mocha.
Emily, another chance for a shameless plug. Where could people figure out what's good and what's not?
Oh well, you know, if you want to do single flavor testing without doing single flavor testing, you could check out Noted on the DIY or Die YouTube channel. Every week we go through we do a new profile, and we test. I mean, every flavor we have of that profile. Monday nights.
Sorry, Mark, I couldn't resist. What else you got, buddy?
We're talking about Canadians being like friendly and all that. I said, yeah, we are sorry that we have a tin and you don't.
No, you're not.
You know, I've been in this country for 8 years. I can't get behind poutine. I don't like
You got to have the real cheese curds. You have to have St. Albert's cheese curds.
Yeah.
St. Albert's cheese curds.
Yes.
I can't eat cheese, but from what I hear, it has to be St. Albert's cheese curds. It is the right amount of salt, right amount of cheese, right amount of everyone talks about it.
You have to send me some.
Poutine.
You have to send me some, Mark.
What's
But
that?
I can tell you, my wife, she will, every time she eats fries or anything, like she will get gravy.
Oh yeah, you got to have
Oh
gravy.
yeah.
Gravy with the right amount of ketchup added to it.
No. Oh God, don't do that.
Apple cider
That's
vinegar.
just rude.
Over here, we put in our gravy. We fry up a bit of diced bacon, a bit of diced onion to throw in the gravy. That's beautiful over chips.
Here,
Fries,
that is called a Newfie patin here.
Is that some sort of insult?
a Newfie patin has onions, it has meat, it has the gravy, but does not have the cheese.
Hey, Emily, I think you said earlier on Fresh's show, didn't you say how many new Wonder flavors that they're releasing? Just the number, not the names.
No, the names as well.
God, what is? I don't know. I don't think I said the number, but I can probably go through and count them real quick.
12.
I was going to say,
What?
I thought that somebody said how many.
That
was.
is assuming the list was complete. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14 new flavors.
Well, there you
Right.
go.
Another 14
They were
I
just
gotta
talking
buy.
about it in chat, so.
Yeah, they want me to put the list in the description. I can't do that.
Oh, have they
Because he did-
released the list publicly yet?
No,
No,
that's why. I
no.
think he didn't specifically say that I could share the list, so I think it was given to me in confidence, so I'm not going to divulge it.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, I
I'm
wouldn't
talking
mess
to
that
Frank
up.
right now.
I think think everybody should go pre-order them just blindly.
Yeah,
Just-
there's some,
just
there's
order.
some, quite a few in there that look pretty interesting. And Wonder Flavors, I mean, you know, they most of the time, more often than not, I would say, their flavors are really good.
Yeah, if you use them at the right percentage, you have to find the right percentages for the new flavors.
Yeah.
And 90% of them are 2%.
I only have a couple that I don't care for, and one of them, I can't remember the name of it, something champagne, baby powder.
Oh, baby powder, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just as I thought, I tested all of the
Frank
ones
said
that
it to
Chef
confirm
stock.
it's 12 flavors.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe there was a couple on the list that just didn't get
Yeah.
put in.
What was that, Liam?
Just as I thought, I tested all of the Wonder Flavors Chef stock. Frank decides he's going to release some new ones.
Yeah, really.
I find there's quite a few that are missing though. I've looked on the website and people are posting up recipes of Wonder Flavor names, and I'm like, I've never heard of that. I've never even seen it.
Yeah, I don't think Chef stocked the whole Wonder Flavors range.
Yeah, the whole line. Yeah,
Um,
I wish they did.
Not too sure. Not too sure why. It could be space issues, but yeah, I believe they got something like 110 of them now.
Yeah. How many do they have all up? Does anybody know? How many do they have in
Total
their
flavors
entire
for
line?
for Wonder Flavors, super concentrated. It's 144 flavors.
Wow. And what about in the other line?
For the non, I believe it's less than 20.
Oh, okay.
Now, Emily, Joshua was asking if y'all could put the list of flavors that you go over in your description. But gotcha. Isn't there somebody that used to go through somewhere and post all the flavors that you covered with spot in the video where it is?
Yeah, there
Is that
used
still
to
happening?
be. You know, I'm not sure. I haven't checked in a while, but there's normally somebody who will go in and put like timestamps of what flavors. But you know, to be honest, I haven't checked in a while. I'm not sure if that's still going on. But it was very beneficial, very useful to know, you know, what flavors. But you know, there's so many of them that it's tough to. That is something we should look at doing though. But with like 3 people and a guest all having, you know, upwards of 20s and 30s of flavors, you know, it can be a little tricky.
That should be the producer's job. Give him something else to do.
Okay, let's talk about notes for a second. People that are doing these flavors and testing notes, writing down notes, or putting them on their computer. A lot of the follow-up question that I get is, what should I put in my notes? And
Just
Everything.
quickly, Mike.
yeah, go ahead.
Graham's put in that there is a timestamp. It's on the second screen in the comments for timestamps on the noted videos.
Nice. There should be a way to pin that so it's always up front, the first.
Sorry, Mike, I just thought I'd throw that in because we were just talking about it.
No, that's fine.
You carry on.
Yeah, Fidago, Tammy spending time with her children this show. And as we say around here, family first. That is also where ID10T is. He's spending time with his kids. So cannot fault anybody for that. Yeah, what I was saying about the notes is, you know, obviously you want to put in there what flavor it is, what percentage that you mixed it at, the time that you tested it, if it's right off the shake or after a week or whatever. But after that, there really is no wrong way to do it, right? I mean, I always tell people just just put down stuff that you will recognize, that when you go back a year from now and you read something like what Dave would say, this is the strawberry, the plant, and the dirt in the garden. You're going to understand what that means. As long as you understand it, that's all that matters.
As possible, for sure. You know, you want to try to, and when I first started mixing, and even still today sometimes, my palate's dumb. You know, like it's hard to distinguish sometimes, like if it's a high note or a bass, or, you know, like, so you want to spend some time and sit down and try to pick out the nuances that you're tasting, write everything about that flavor that you can, even if it's overkill, as much as you can in your notes, because in a week from now or a month from now, you're not going to remember what that flavor tastes like.
Exactly.
So you're going to need to go back to your notes and be like, okay, and then that will remind you of what, you know, of what it's like. But it doesn't need to be as like technical as some, you know, as some of these people, like, you know, Liam. Like it just needs to be something, like Mike said, that you understand. You know, if you want to relate it, some part of it, to another flavor that you had, a lot of times I'll say, oh, it's not as sweet as this company's so, but it's a little bit bassier than this company so and so. Or like I'll put like, you know, this reminds me a lot of, you know, this flavor, but here's how it's different, you know, like, so you just want to, it doesn't matter what you write in the notes, as long as it's something like Mike said, that you get, that it will speak to you, and as much detail as you possibly can muster is what you want to put in your notes.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's funny is from Wonder Flavors, he is literally a half an hour drive away. So guess how fast I'll get those flavors. I should have them by Monday.
And Smokey made a good point in chat too. If you keep going back and referring to your notes, you can tell how your taste changes to certain flavors and things too. After you've been vaping a while, you might pick up other notes that you didn't pick up when you first started vaping.
Definitely. Yep.
Nick, you ain't said much, buddy. What else you got on single flavor testing? Or are we done on single flavor testing?
Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Just depends on the profile. Depends on the profile of the individual concentrate. I will if it sounds peculiar. If it's simple, I won't bother, and I'll put it into a mix and see how it is in a mix.
Right. So you're more on the lines of, if you've got a recipe that you're working on and you could go, I mean, say you have a choice of 3 different lemons and you're not sure which one would go in the profile. If you haven't tested them, then that's when you would test those lemons.
Well, I'd smell them first, and then I'd work out if I wanted to put it in there. You can tell a lot from the smell, and then I give it a little lick as well. Who doesn't give them a little lick in it? And then I can find out where to go then.
Absolutely.
With lemons, you gotta look for fading, haven't you? So you can single flavor test them anyway and see if they fade.
Right. Zippy, did you try your guava yet?
It's sitting here. I haven't tried it yet. It's sitting here baking right now. I'm actually trying a recipe that I put together that I've had to tweak. So I tweaked it earlier, or I remade it, and now I'm tasting the recipe. Off the shake. You
It's gonna
guys are
be
just
lightning.
corrupting me. You guys are corrupting me.
And
There's
that's the
going to
thing
be lightning,
too.
Zippy.
That happens with single flavor tests. As much as it's helpful to read other people's opinions and stuff, if you made up your mind that you're going to single flavor test something, don't. Because if I had $1 for every time somebody ruined a flavor for me, because they're like, oh, didn't you get this note in it? And then, of course, power of suggestion. Every time I vape that flavor,
Yeah, you think?
I get that
Yeah.
note.
Yeah,
I
well,
love doing that to
I'm
Nick.
trying to get rid of that guava smell right now. So I figured I'm dying for this recipe to work out. So I'm pretending that the guava don't exist. It's pretty tasty, Liam. Off the shake.
Yeah, hopefully that'll go where you want it to go now.
So I won't have to remake this again, right? It's going to be good. Because it's good
Yeah.
now. It's good now. It's perfect.
It's just going to get better.
That
I think
depends
it's
what it is.
almost postable. That is good shit.
Hey.
Okay, I'll do the guava.
Yeah, we're all waiting on that, Zippy, because you don't do fruits and it's guava.
Okay, I'll
What?
get out the cat pee.
What
Yeah.
what guava is it?
I got actually two. I got TFA guava and I've got FLV pink guava. That's the only guava I have, so I got to
Neither-
test them.
Neither
It's the
of
only two I
those.
got. Huh?
I wouldn't
I
go
know.
either of those because
The,
TFA
the
guava is
TFA really smells like cat pee.
TFA is
The
kinda
FLV,
gross.
not so bad cat pee.
Okay, here's the thing. TFA is kind of gross, but Flavor, to me, it's not guava. It's more grapefruit
Yeah.
than guava.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
good flavor.
just off
Yep.
the sniff, that's what I'm getting from the FLV is more of a like grapefruit. Like,
Yeah.
and that's how I usually judge flavor is this. I actually
I
get
would go
more
with something
flavor.
like Cap Sweet Guava, or is it Cap Sweet Guava? I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
or like even a little bit of FA guava, if you want a real guava.
I don't even know what guava tastes like. So I am totally flying blind here. Totally
vape train.
flying blind.
The vape train one is really good as well.
Yeah, vape train.
But okay, but compared to the two, this one does smell like grapefruit. This one smells like really bad cat pee.
Yeah, I wouldn't use TFA.
So
Which one
okay,
you
I'm
doing
gonna wake
first,
up.
Zippy?
You guys keep chatting, and I'll test.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was gonna do a guava for some reason, I would do Cap Sweet Guava with a little bit of FA guava, like on the top note. Because
Okay.
Cap Sweet Guava is very basy. It's very syrupy and like, sticky sweet. And then FA Guava is a little too bright and authentic, but you put the two together and you have a really decent guava.
Okay. Well, just remind me later, and I'll write that down because I may like it. Who knows? Ugh.
Well, actually, guava was the second and third single flavour test I ever did back in March. I did Cap Sweet Guava, didn't like it. And I did FLV's Guava, and yeah, it wasn't for me, but the wife didn't mind it. So, yeah, and that Guanabana.
Guanabana.
Yeah, so yeah, I also did that one back in March. So that's about when I started mixing, and I did the single flavour testing.
What did you think about the guanabana?
I didn't like any of them.
Really?
Yeah, not single flavour at all. They didn't float my boat, to put it one way. The wife, she didn't mind them. And I also, like in a recipe, it could be different. But as for single flavor, yeah, nah.
Yeah, all those are good in like a tropical type of mix. Just as little accent notes.
Mhm.
Now, I was weird enough one night on Pippa's show. I made a grapefruit cake using Flavora pink guava.
A grapefruit cake. That actually sounds good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad because the sweetness from the frosting on the cake kind of helped cover up some of the grapefruit a little bit, but it's nothing that I would mix again. But I did vape the whole bottle.
Yeah, but saying that, I could have done them all at the wrong percentages because I'm just looking at it now. I did that Guanabana at 4% by Favora. Now I've learned Favora, you don't go very high. What did I do? I did pink guava by Favora at 3%.
Oh yeah, that's too much.
See, that's the thing. Like back in March, that was a while ago. I didn't know. And what was the other one? Sweet guava. I think that was Caps. Yeah, that was Capella. I did that at 6%.
I just mixed up this one right here. I got that in. It was the boysenberry raspberry, and I did that
That's
at
a good one.
1.5%. Holy cow! It's got a beautiful sweetness to it. I can taste the boysenberry, and I can taste the raspberry as well because I've had this for a while and I've been meaning to get around to it. So I think a single flavor tested it, and I've got about 0.17 ohm here on the mech. That's on the Rebirth RDA. I'm only running a single coil, 0.17 ohms, fused Clapton. Yeah, single flavor, 1.5. I mean, I could sit here and vape this all day. I mean, it's
I told
that
you.
one.
Have you tried this Saskatoon?
Which one?
Don't.
No, Saskatoon is a good concentrate. That is. I
Not
really
by
like it.
itself,
No.
though.
Yeah, Ronnie goes on about that one.
But again, that's where it shows everybody's palate is different.
Yeah.
Couldn't get on with the Saskatoon at all. Not a flavour for me.
I've got
No,
a
if you
perfect.
use it low,
Saskatoon sucks. Saskatoon berries.
I got a perfect blend of both the boysenberry and the raspberry. It's perfectly blended.
yeah.
Where you're getting that full flavor and you can taste both of them. Beautiful. I love it. 1.5% single flavor test. So really good.
I love Saskatoon berry. It's really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of haters for Saskatoon.
I have it and have yet to try it.
Okay, I'm getting
How
ready.
about the Yang Mai berry?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yang Mai's good. Yeah.
Stalker, do you like grapefruit?
Never had it in real life. I'm not a fruit eater.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say you ought to try that Flavora pink guava at like a 0.5%.
0.5%.
Yeah.
Okay.
TFA guava sucks.
Now that I've had this is
Tell
actually
us how you
spurring
really
some
feel.
ideas for some recipes. And that's another thing too that I like about, when you single flavor test and you kind of get a really good idea of the profile and whether or not you like it, then the wheels kind of start turning and you're thinking, oh, I know what I could throw at this. And, you start thinking about creams and or making a bakery with it, like a pie or whatever. I mean, things just start flooding in your mind about like, what you put it with, so yeah, it's awesome.
Down the
TFA
drain?
guava.
Well, the cat pissed down the drain, yeah.
Oh man, that is nasty shit.
Put that with some chocolate, Zippy. It'll be okay.
Well, I just happen to have some VTA. Maybe I'll drip it on top of that. Whoa,
Drown it
that
in
is
chocolate.
that is disgusting shit. Disgusting.
There's another one that reminds me of that, to tell you the truth. Flavor West grape. Ugh. I single flavored that one, and all I got was pure like alcohol. It was that was nasty. Now I know a lot of people like the grape soda, but the grape, no.
Like what I'm getting out of this, if I use my imagination, way back there might be a little fume of like a grapefruit or something, but it's way back there behind the cat piss. No.
Yeah.
Anybody want a free bottle of TFA guava?
I knew you would like it. You shouldn't put it in.
But I gotta try it to say that I tried it, because we're actually doing guava on homegrown alchemy. So I mean I gotta try it, but
There's another reason to single flavor test. To just say you had it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Right.
basically that's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, if you get concentrate that tastes like, ass to you, and you throw it in the mix without single flavor testing and knowing what that flavor tastes like, you're never going to guess that one concentrate that's screwing up the entire mix. It'll make
Yep.
it'll make it that much harder to identify what could be the offending culprit in the mix.
I made that mistake once before. That's what I was saying earlier. What I did was I put a bunch of flavors together, but there was something in that mix that was like funky. I ended up having to take that recipe apart, get every flavor that was in that recipe and test all over again. So I wasted like 3 weeks of my time waiting and mixing, and I should have tested them. But okay, folks, do not buy TFA guava.
I wouldn't throw it out though. I wouldn't throw it out just in case you ever want to make.
Okay, well, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
I wish Dave was here
I'm
right
all
now.
right.
I'd love to hear
You can
him
keep it.
describe that flavor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's so good at describing horrible.
I cannot think that there is anything that is going to fix this flavor, or that you could add it to something that all of a sudden it's going to taste yummy. My brain is blank.
So
Do you have any?
Sorry, Mike. Basically, Smokey was asking what's cat piss. Tell her what the cat piss is that you get. There, Zippy.
What the cat piss is?
Yeah. TFA
Cat
guava?
piss. Yeah, well, TFA guava is cat piss. TFA guava is cat piss with a hint of, or let's say a fume of grapefruit. Barely.
The ammonia flavoring,
I have
as
to-
Liam puts it.
I have to pull out the imagination. And I'm changing my cotton because it's going to ruin the other guava.
Also, something I just thought of. Now, I can't remember who told me this. I know it was an American. Another way of single flavor testing is you put a drop of your concentrate on a spoon, and you put on some, I think it was called Cool Whip.
Yep.
And
Yes.
you mix that
Oh,
around
yeah.
and-
That used to be, yeah.
and you taste it.
it.
I do remember someone told me.
Yeah,
and I
Fresh has
can't-
mentioned that multiple times in his shows.
Yeah, I can't.
I've done it before.
couldn't remember
It's
who it
nice. It gives you a Cool Whip. You can sit there and have a snack, a flavored snack.
Yeah, because I was chatting with someone, and I know it wasn't Fresh, and I haven't. To be honest, I don't think I've heard Fresh say that, but I'm not going to disregard that. But yeah, no, I was actually chatting with someone, and they did say that. I've got to try to find that in Australia.
Well, Jack in that used to on university, that was his biggest thing, was to test with whipped cream.
Actually, it might have even been Graham.
Yeah, Stoker. I think it's just the same. You know, the whipped cream you can get in cans.
Yep.
With
Yeah.
I think Cool Whip is exactly the same as that.
Yeah. Cool Whip or the cans.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And all you do, you take a teaspoon, and you either if you've got the container, just scoop it up, and you can put a drop on, like a little bit of Cool Whip. Don't like heaping, just a little level spoon. Put a drop on, taste it. Don't just like swallow it, like swirl it around. And then you can put a couple drops on. You can just keep going like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be doing the one that Steve-O mentioned earlier as well, with pouring her in water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do what I did.
But the Cool Whip tastes so much better.
Graham makes a good point, though. He said Cool Whip is hydrogenated vegetable glycerin. Whipped cream is actually dairy.
Yeah.
So you'll get a different effect for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just use it as an excuse to flavor the Cool Whip. Yeah, you're not going to get a true flavor from doing the Cool Whip.
And Zippy, maybe you can save that and put it in some homemade ice cream or something. All right, y'all. So while
subtle, aren't you?
Yeah, while we're waiting on Zippy to re-wick,
I'll just be a second here.
Yeah,
I'll just be a
fine.
second.
I did want to mention developed on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. They do their pre-recorded show. This week, because of Thanksgiving and that, right after the pre-recorded show, they're doing their live show right after the pre-recorded. And they're also going to be discussing, I believe, Graham said, recipe of the year as well.
Yeah, they've got a special guest on this week. That's sitting in the panel.
Nick.
Special guest.
Oh,
Nick.
yeah, that's right. Nick's on.
Yep.
So Nick, if you didn't know, right after the pre-recorded goes, then you'll be live.
Yeah, he told me. He told me I was on as well. Special guest me.
All right. Also, you all, in about 45 minutes, Daytime Frank will be on. Y'all go check out his show if you haven't. In the description of this stream will be the links to all the shows. I believe Noted is in there as well. So yeah, next week on the show, we will be doing flavor pairings.
Yay!
So we talked about it a little bit last week, but what goes with what? So we'll be doing that next week. Last
That's
week
like
we
a
also
fun
talked.
experiment.
Yeah, I think that should be
Wonder
fun.
Flavors coconut custard goes with everything.
Chocolate goes with everything. Chocolate goes with everything.
Yeah, if you
And
didn't see,
rich cinnamon.
if you didn't
Sorry,
see,
I love that stuff. I throw it in everything.
Hippie
Yeah, we
Vapes
know.
made a killer. He calls it a pineapple custard that uses that, and it is straight up a pina colada, and it is freaking good. I mean, I vaped through 120 mils in a week of that stuff.
Who makes it?
Hippie Vapes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got a recipe out there, and I think he calls it pineapple custard. Yeah, definitely look it up if you're interested in that, because that was a good recipe.
Absolutely. Also, if anybody missed it last week on the Homegrown Alchemy channel, they did a show on additives. There's a lot of good information in that show. If y'all go back and watch that show, I'll warn you ahead of time. Have a notebook and a paper with you so you can take some notes. A lot of good information in that show. What do you guys, Zippy?
I don't like guava.
That's a possibility.
You know that
Big
might
one.
turn
Big one.
into your nickname. You're no longer the squirrel. You're now the guava.
No, no.
What percentage did you mix that at, Zippy?
Okay, the
Flavor.
1.2. I mixed the Flavora at 1.2, and I mixed the. Hang on, I mixed the TFA at 3.
Ooh,
Whoa.
damn.
I
Zippy,
went
pour
with the
out.
median. I went with the median. Okay, damn.
ELR's way off.
Go with the median.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm just
Hey,
going to tell
I
you
don't
though,
know
Zippy.
fruits, damn it. Come
Take-
on, give me a break. These aren't even fruits. These are like some sort of bad joke.
Take that bottle, Zippy, dump half of it out, and then fill it back up with VG, and that'll get you down around 0.6, and we'll talk about it again next week.
Well, okay. I gotta say that, honestly, the pink guava, the first hit I got something, and now it's just gone.
Well, what
But
I've heard, that
it's-
does mean it's too strong.
No, it's like,
Something about the sensory overload where you taste it the first,
oh yeah, I can't. I've
and
been
then after that,
testing
it
them.
doesn't.
Yeah, well, that's why I can't do a lot of testing either, is because I just like everything just leaves like real quick. But no, I don't like the taste of this. Like this is like
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen around as well the TFA guava. If you use it like a 10% dilution, apparently it gets rid of that ammonia note. I've
okay.
seen
I'm
a
gonna
couple
hang
of
on. I'm
people
gonna
say
write
it.
that down. I'm gonna
But
write that down because
I've
that's nasty.
I've never tried it because I have to try in TFA guava once. I couldn't bring myself to try it twice.
Yeah, torture yourself. I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, but
Okay,
if
so
if you dilute it, you're still going to have to use it at the same percent anyway. You can still use it at whatever percent you want. Even if you dilute it, you're not gaining anything.
okay, I got a solution. How about I don't use it?
That sounds like a great plan.
You have to save.
Can
that
I
for
just
cat
go back
food.
to my raspberry?
You
Is
can
that
do
your
whatever
little
you want.
granddaughter?
DIY.
All right, y'all. Let's start to wrap.
It's my grandson.
Oh, sorry, grandson. I've got the granddaughter. Sorry, same age. Sorry.
Let's start to wrap this up and get out of here. Nick, Emily, well, everybody on the panel. Thank y'all for coming on. Nick, where can people find you, buddy?
Find me on ELR under the name Nevans. Find me on all the flavors under Nick Evans, Nick EVZ. And I'll do me. Find me on the chef's group as well.
Awesome. Who should go next?
Wow, good burp.
Well, we'll go with Mark. He was just talking, so we'll go with Mark.
Oh, I'm on virtually every group. I'm on every group. I'm on all the Discords. I hang out mainly on my Canada C2C DIY Facebook group. So if you're Canadian and you're looking for a place to hang out, it's a great place to hang out. Other than that, I come on whenever I can. You can see why I'm hardly on. It's been 2 months of this. He's only 2 months old.
Yeah, know the feeling. I've got my little granddaughter here as well. So
This guy's hilarious. Card.
All right. How about you, Stalker?
yeah, well, I'm on here. I'm Kev Shell Vapes on Facebook. The Stalker on Discord. ELR and that I don't really have many recipes. I think I've only got 2 out so far. I'd like to thank Emily, Nick and Liam and Mark for coming on. It was great to meet you for the first time, Em and Nick. Thanks for all your advice. And we'll throw it over to Emily.
Well, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun. You can find me on ELR or all the flavors at MLNIKON. And if you want to see me on some more shows, I'm on the Mix and Vixens on Sundays, and then I'm on the DIY or Die YouTube channel doing Noted on Monday nights.
How about you, Zippy?
Well, you can find me at Zippy Zone on my channel, and usually I post up videos on Sundays. You can find me on Homegrown Alchemy with Tam Vapes on Monday nights. And most of the time you can find me here hanging out with you on Saturday nights. And you can find me on ELR under Zippy. And I'm on Instagram as Laura Slick. And I'm on Facebook everywhere. I run amok.
Gotcha. How about you, Steve?
Yeah. So you find me hanging out here, guys. Steve-O, just like it's spelled there on the screen. You'll find me here. You find me on with Aaron, the Vaping Lizard, down the rabbit hole. Sometimes up here with Homegrown Alchemy or Daytime Frank. Don't forget about his show after this one here. Daytime Frank mixing in the kitchen there. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody on the panel and everyone in chat. Thanks for coming. And it's awesome to see everybody and get to catch up with everyone. And yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I didn't miss anybody, did I? Good deal.
Yep, you can catch me on
Liam,
you can catch me on ELR as Sheerluck_ohms. I'm all over Facebook. I believe I'm in most of the DIY mixing groups. Primarily hang out in the Chef's Flavors group as admin, and you can get my flavor notes. I believe they're actually in about a dozen groups now, so you should be able to find those in most of them. They always go onto the Chef's Flavors group first, and then I distribute them out then to the other groups over the course of a couple of days. And again, you can find all of my notes as well on Mixers Helping Mixers. You can catch me on this show and When I Gate Crash, Homegrown Alchemy, and also on the Fog Vlog. And seeing as it's a single flavor testing show, this one, if you wanted to go on the Fog Vlog and have a look at their Easy Does It series, they've got some really good content out there as well for single flavors.
Absolutely. When are they coming back? Do you know yet?
No, I'm hoping to get some new content out recorded tomorrow for Theo to edit and upload. I'm not too sure what's actually happening with the guys at the moment. I believe they're all busy with real life things, so that's why the channel's gone a little bit quiet.
That happens.
We will be getting something coming up soon.
All right, good deal. Well, again, chat or panel, thank y'all for being on. The people that are watching, there would be no point in us doing a show without you all watching. So thank you very much. I mean, we could sit here and talk to ourselves, but that's not likely to happen.
That
anyway,
goes slow usually.
As always, y'all, stay safe, keep on trucking, keep on vaping.